welcome back to the 18th episode of Kaylee's Kitchen. My name is Kaylee and today we're going to be working on sugar cookies with the tastiest, prettiest, shiniest icing that you've ever had. Now I have been using this cookie recipe for as long as I can remember, ever since I was a little girl, but this icing recipe actually comes from Barbara at allrecipes.com. Now when I did first try this recipe about 6 years ago, I knew right away that it was a keeper. The icing's not too hard and it's not too soft. It's perfect for cookies that you want to stack and mail off to loved ones for the holidays, and I can't wait to share it with you. So let's get started. Okay, so to go ahead and get started, what you're going to need for the cookies is 3/4 cup or 1.5 sticks of butter, 2 eggs, 1 cup of sugar. We've got 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We've got 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and then 2 3/4 cups of flour. Now for the icing, we've got 4 tablespoons or 1/2 stick of butter. We've got icing color. You can also use the standard food coloring or homemade food dye. Whatever you prefer is okay. I prefer the icing color for these cookies because it gives a very, very, very vibrant color. And then also for the icing, we've got 2.5 tablespoons of cream, 1 to 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Barbara's recipe does call for 1 teaspoon. I, however, like to use 2 because I like the taste. And then we've got 2 cups of powdered sugar. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to cream the softened butter with the sugar. And I forgot to mention that in the first video that you are going to want to make sure that your butter is softened. You don't necessarily want it melted though, just because it is going to take longer to cool back down. Basically, we are going to be cooling our dough at the end just so the cookies don't spread and burn. So here I am going to cream these together. Then we're going to add the eggs. And we're going to mix those in as well. Then we're going to add in the vanilla. After that, we're going to add the baking powder and the salt to the flour, and we're going to mix that together. And then we're slowly going to add this to the wet mixture. When the cookie dough is done, you are going to cover it and refrigerate for about 1 to 2 hours until the cookie dough has cooled down. This is going to prevent the cookies from spreading and burning. Once your dough is cooled down, you are going to roll it out onto a floured surface. You're going to roll it to about 1/4 inch thin. We're going to take our cookie cutter and we are going to start cutting out our shapes. And now that the pan is full, we are going to put these in an oven that's been preheated to 375 degrees. We're going to cook these for about 8 to 10 minutes, and you will notice I am cooking on parchment paper. This will prevent the cookies from burning. It'll help them cook a little bit more evenly as well. And then lastly, you can also re-roll this dough. Make sure to roll it again out on another floured surface, and then you can reuse this for the next batch. After you've let the cookies cool for a minute, once they're done baking, you are going to transfer them to a cooling rack. Now when the cookies are done and you're ready to start decorating, you're going to heat the cream and the butter in a small saucepan over medium heat until the butter is melted, and then you're going to stir in the vanilla and the sugar. And then you're going to remove this from the heat. The last thing you need to do is you need to beat this until it's smooth. I am going to take just the little bit that I'm going to use first, the part that I'm going to dye red. I'm going to add the icing to that. I'm going to throw this away and I'll mix that in again. Now that that's a nice bright red, we're going to start decorating. This is smooth right away. However, it will get grainy if you wait too long, so it does take a little practice to get this perfect, but it's totally worth it. This might get a little grainier quicker on me just because I had to reset up the camera for filming. It should be about 15 minutes or so before it starts to get grainy, so definitely make sure you have some help when you're doing this. If you want to keep it nice and smooth, you can do 15-second intervals in the microwave. Just stir it up again. Sometimes adding a little bit of piping hot water can help, or adding a little bit of extra cream, mixing it in well, still microwaving it as well. Otherwise, another idea that you can do is you can keep the icing in a pan, and you can keep the pan on top of another pan, and in the bottom pan you're going to have some water simmering. So you're going to have one pan with simmering water, and then you're going to have the other pan on top. That will keep it nice and smooth and great to work with. My technique, I just add too much, scrape it all off to the thickness I like. This is a great recipe. It's nice and rich. You don't have to cover an entire cookie. I do just because I like the way it looks. But if you wanted, you could also put the icing in a decorator's bag or just a Ziploc bag and just snip the corner, and then you can pipe this onto cookies as well. Here you can see how nice this looks. This is a cookie that I do include in my Christmas baking every year. It's one of everybody's favorites. And if you are using sprinkles, I would add those immediately. Definitely make sure you have some help when you're doing these. If you want them to stick, you're going to want to make sure that the icing is nice and warm. Now there you have it, everyone. That's my sugar cookie recipe paired with Barbara's perfect icing recipe. Now this may not be the easiest icing that you've ever worked with. However, I can guarantee you that it is worth it. And as always, you saw this here in Keely's Kitchen. I'll see you back in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching.